Hello. Apologies for the 2007 hair. I'm actually auditioning to be a member of Smosh, so I wanted to talk about my favourite book ever. It's not the best book I've ever read. The best book I've ever read is Ulysses, but this is my favourite because what this book did, it was like a sledgehammer to the mind. If you heard my cat, just ignore that. Naked Lunch, I have here, is the most visceral reading experience I've ever had. Now, visceral reading experiences just don't happen, usually, because words are a remarkably poor form of communicating real action and real feeling. But what this book does is it sears off the page. The words have this wonderful, like, churning, grindy crunchiness to it, which is it works so well with the subject matter. It works so well with what the book is trying to do. That it's, I don't know, I can't think of anything comparable. I mean, late Shakespeare, King Learish Shakespeare is comparable, but goddamn, this book is so good. I wanted to read a short extract before I go on. This is, I don't know. There are certain literary phrases that have burned into my brain. If you ever read "I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream" by Harlan Ellison, there's a phrase that he uses, like tin foil on a tooth. That image, it's so good, and this passage kind of comes close to that for me. You know how this pin and dropper routine is put down. She seized a safety pin caked with blood and rust, gouged a great hole in her leg which seemed to hang open like an obscene, festering mouth waiting for unspeakable congress with the dropper, which she now plunged out of sight into the gaping wound. But a hideous galvanized need, hunger of insects in dry places, has broken the dropper off in deep in the flesh of her ravaged thigh, looking rather like a poster on soil erosion. What does she care? She does not even bother to remove the splintered glass, looking down at her bloody haunch with the cold, blank eyes of a meat trader. What does she care for the atom bomb, the bed bugs, the cancer rent, friendly finance waiting to repossess her delinquent flesh? Sweet dreams, pant upon Rose. So, it's just, I just think it's just the obscene, festering mouth bit. It is a remarkably cogent, terrifying image, and every time I watch something like Trainspotting, I think, my heroine seems cool. That passage always brings me back to reality. But beyond the shock and beyond the advertised, it's got drugs in it, it's got sex in it, it's got a million jizzing cocks in it. Yeah. But what the book is, or at least what the book can be treated as, is an extended treatise on control within society. Now, this is made most explicit in the Freeland chapter, with Dr. Benway and his electric shocks, and tutor men and all that stuff. And but the book is about sexual control. It's about physical control. It's about control through language. It's about control through all kinds of things. And obviously it illustrates that in a very visceral way, but the book is a lot smarter, I think, than it's given credit for. It's not random. It's not, I mean, even the cut-ups that William Burroughs would do later weren't random, but this is especially, they were arranged randomly, the episodes, by Ginsberg and Kerouac, but they form a unified whole, like nothing else. And once you read this book, I think you'll think about the world in a different way. It does make sex seem quite disgusting, though, which, I don't know. I don't think you'll look at that in the same way again. But, as I've always said, who needs sex when you have William S. Burroughs? Yeah, it's just so good, and I thoroughly recommend it. I have the hardback. I also have a paperback edition with an introduction by J.G. Ballard. I have I have all the Burroughs books. They behind me over there. I've got Burroughs the movie. I've got the Barry Miles Burroughs book. I've got his letters. I've got all kinds of things. I've got dead things. I'm a big fan. Big fan. Anyone that knows me knows that. But this is where you start. This book here is the sort of it's like jumping into a cold swimming pool or something. It is refreshing, and it is also not nice at the same time. But if you want to get into the man's work, you I think you're best off starting with his best work. People would say start with Junkie, but Junkie is not really it's not really representative of what he is best at, in my view, which is um, just very strange description and very vivid, almost feverish dream states, while also illustrating, complex his theories on the world, his theories on all that kind of like. Junkie is good, but I don't know. If he hadn't published his later works, it wouldn't nearly be as fondly remembered. In my view. So yeah, if I were you, I pick up a copy of Naked Lunch. Um, whether to get the restored edition or not, this is a restored edition. Um, well, so the book was quote unquote restored by Oliver Harris, I believe, from a publish a from the original publication by Maurice Gerodius. Um, I've seen it have some detractors, but I haven't noticed anything wrong with it. It makes the book longer, and it's kind of like I would describe the restored edition as almost being like, I don't want to say the director's cut of Apocalypse Now, but like imagine the director's cut of Apocalypse Now if the plantation scene was still quite long, but a little bit shorter. Well, say a lot shorter. It's good, but it's a bit flabbier than if you were to get the original, which I believe is 1958. Right. So yes, this is all nerd stuff, but yes, pick up this book. It's my biggest recommendation ever. You'll hate it, but I don't know. It is just it's unique, if nothing else. This isn't your tea time dramas. This isn't your Virginia Woolf. It's so much, I don't know, cooler. And yeah, maybe I will look back on this Burroughs obsession as being quaintly juvenile, but his work will always hold a place in my heart for its vitality. Whenever I feel like the world is a sad, tired place, his books just they galvanize me like nothing else. And I can't tell you why. I can't tell you why, but it's the case. So yes, read Naked Lunch. That's the lesson.